Good.
Hi, Dr. Mark here for Natural Health. Hope you're having a great day. It's a new month in August here, so we're talking about back to school issues. So tonight we're talking about kids succeeding in school, being able to think and control their energies. So we want to talk about some of the reasons behind that. Now, of course, this is Natural Health. We've been at the office now for over 40 years that I've been in practice doing chiropractic and nutritional work and dietary consulting. Looking at underlying causes of problems. For example, if a child has autism, they give them Ritalin or ADHD or whatever, that's covering up a symptom, that's covering up the problem, rather than trying to find out what the underlying cause is. And we're always looking at underlying causes of problems. So we do a lot of detox here at the office. We find that many of the kids have heavy metal toxicities. These can come from various reasons. Most people know what the main one is, but whatever, we can get rid of that. So we have a lot of success with getting the kids to detox, get their brains, get the metals and things out of there, like aluminum and mercury and lead and all that stuff. So we do a lot of that. So anyway, we're here to help with that. But tonight we're going to talk about some of the things you can do without even coming to the office. Just basically some common sense things. So I'd like everybody to think about what we're doing here at Natural Health as more common sense health, rather than trying to treat everything. I find it interesting that the numbers of kids with autism has went from used to be 1 in 5,000 or 10,000, whatever, then 1 to 88. Now it's like 1 in 30. It's an awful number of kids with diagnosed autism. And so what all the medics want to do is make therapists up, or have therapists come in and talk to these kids and all that kind of thing, and then do therapy. Well, let's look at the reasons why they're. Why is it getting worse? Nobody's addressing that. We are, but mainstream's not. So anyway, that's the things we want to look at, is underlying causes of the reasons why the kids have problems. And so, but a couple things we're going to talk about tonight are really simple things, but it's a hard thing to get control of, because there's so much problem with it. So let's just get right into it. I'm Dr. Mark, of course, here at Natural Health. I work on a lot more of the nutritional, dietary aspects. And of course, we do chiropractic here. Dr. Chip does most of the adjusting here, working with the nervous system. So it works really good. We have both things available here at the office. So the glycemic index is a way of looking at how your body absorbs sugars or absorbs carbohydrates. And so it's important to realize that if the body keeps the blood sugar really normal, that way energy is really just average or normal, not this up and down business. So it's really important to understand that if you're feeding kids certain foods, well, you're going to have high energy then low energy, and high energy and low energy. So what does that translate to? Well, they have high energy. It's very hard for them to sit still. They just have a hard time sitting there. They got all this energy to burn, and the teachers yelling at them to sit down, behave, and all that kind of stuff. Well, if they do it often enough, well, then we want to put them on medication. So we want to get that balanced out. If the energy goes real low because the insulin has spiked and has the blood sugar, less sugar in the blood sugar, or less blood sugar in the blood, I guess, put it that way, then they go into almost a depression, or emotions, or crying, or all this stuff, depressed type things. So we want to try to get the blood sugar to be more level. So we want the glycemic index to be low. So you can look through the different foods here. So a good idea is proteins. These numbers are real low, especially any kind of meats. Now, they don't have meats on this thing, where meats are going to have a really low glycemic index. They do have beans here in proteins, but a lot of beans have a lot of carbs with them. So that's going to make their glycemic index higher. If we look at the grains and starches, these indexes get really higher. And white bread is 100. It's 100 on the glycemic index, which means the body absorbs it very quickly. Now, they don't even have on this one cereal. It's going to be right there with white bread. if not worse. I mean, refined sugars, they just absorb by the body very quickly. And so, the people that are promoting all these cereals first thing in the morning are the cereal manufacturers. You don't want kids to have all that refined sugar in the morning. And it's even hard to get teachers and everybody to understand this. They think just get the kids what they want to eat, and then the cereals a lot of times basically are a lot of these grains that have been very processed, and then they take all the minerals out of them so that the grain doesn't go bad. The cereal will last on the shelf forever, and then they throw some artificial minerals back into it and call it fortified, like white bread's fortified. It's just all marketing and baloney. And again, the minerals that they put back in there are synthetic. They're not the minerals that come from food sources. They're not the actual isomers, the chemicals, the things that actually the body needs in a whole food to work correctly. So, that's why you'll notice a lot of these glycemic indexes are so high with the grains. Oatmeal, taco shells, even baked potatoes, whole wheat bread is way up there. And then these other ones like vegetables and things are low, very low, except you have cooked carrots. Now carrots are very high in sugar. So I try to, a lot of times people will think they need to have carrot juice as a health food, and I find that carrot juice has way too much sugar in it to be used for that purpose. You want to use it, just eat the carrot, not carrot juice. So real important there. The fruits have a high glycemic index, a lot of sugar in fruits. So again, that just gives you a kind of a good idea of what's going on. So what does that look like in the body? So if you have the glucose blood levels, that's the straight line there, and that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you're eating high carby foods, you're going to have this big spike, and then sucrose-rich foods even goes higher there. So that's like your donuts, your cookies and candies and cakes. Now, an interesting thing, you can see how low this dips. So if you start the day with a bunch of sugar, with like cereal, you're going to have a really high spike here with all the blood sugar, and the kids are going to be going crazy. And then what happens is the insulin follows that. The body wants to get that out of there because it bothers the brain. The body knows this. So it brings insulin up to get that blood sugar out of there. Well, the insulin spikes, but then that drives the blood sugar way low. So as you had breakfast, you're fasted all night, your blood sugar is real low, you eat a carby breakfast, the sugar goes way up, and then the insulin chases up, and right back down here, you're back down to the same level almost as it was before you ate. That's the insulin driving the blood sugar out of the blood. So again, that you don't go into a diabetic coma because your brain gets too much sugar. So it kind of goes up and down because the body's getting insulin to help to balance out. If the body can balance insulin, which even these kids now are developing type 2 diabetes, which means their insulin doesn't work right. So then you have the same thing at lunch. You're getting carbs and stuff. You're having a sandwich. But if you're adding a fruity drink, one of the fruit drinks that are just full of sugar are donuts or whatever else, any kind of candy. A lot of teachers and things will have candy dishes on their thing, and they wonder why the kids won't behave. And that's why. It's real simple, actually. And so then it dips back down because the body pulls all that sugar out. Then in the afternoon you have that slump, time for a nap. The kids are lethargic because all the blood sugars back out, and then of course they gain a lot of weight from that too. And again, same things for supper or dinner. If you're eating a carby supper, you're going to have that spike again, and then the kids are all wound up before bed. And then if they have some kind of thing, you got to see how this works in the body. The sugar is an energy. The body likes the sugar and wants the energy, but the body was never meant to have processed sugars. The sugars that we do get should come from foods, even fruits if that's what you're into, but we're never meant to have all these processed grains and processed sugars. That's the underlying reason why people have a lot of problems with diabetes and all this stuff. And if you start this in the young kids with formulas, some of these formulas are nothing more than just grains, processed grains. Yeah, the kids will eat them, taste good, they're sweet, and they'll put weight on them, they'll make them fat and plump. Well, the medics are all about this, this chart that says you have to be this weight and this all this stuff. And again, they're not looking at, what kind of weight. Do you want fat weight or do you want protein weight? Now, protein actually weighs more than fat per volume, but you have to have the right foods for that to happen. So again, using a lot of formula and those kind of things are not healthy long term. So anyway, that gives you a good idea, just as a very simple thing. Just controlling sugars in the diet will help with the kids' performance in school. You go to the schools, a lot of times their breakfasts are high carb breakfasts. And this is because it's cheap, because again, Coca-Cola and General Mills and all these guys have marketed to the school systems, and we'll do this and that kind of thing, and we'll spend $100,000 on your PE department if you'll sell our foods only or use our foods only. There's all kind of little games played like that. So you really want to keep a watch on that. Make sure that you know how these foods work and you know what foods the kids are getting, because it's hard. When the kids come home, they're not doing well in school, and you blame the kids for not behaving. Well, many times it's not the kids' fault, especially the younger kids. The older kids a lot of times can adapt to that, but then they get acne and all kind of other problems. You get a lot of these allergies and asthma and all this stuff. It's all derived from a lot of this blood sugar up and down, insulin problems. The gut gets to be a problem. You have dysbiosis. You have the bad bacteria in the gut. There's all kind of things that go along with bad diets, and it's just important to understand how all that works. So I think I've been on the soapbox long enough. If you have questions about that, of course, that's what we do at Natural Health, is explain to people how the diets work. We have a way with our nutrition response testing to test the body, to find out how it's working, and then get to the underlying reasons of any problems. Also help get the diets figured out. Now, interesting thing, if you get kids on a good diet, they actually most of the time will want to go towards good foods. Their body knows it needs good foods. If you just have sugar junk around, well, they'll eat it, but their bodies usually can figure that out. Now, I was just talking to a patient today that, summer's a bad time for that, because we have all these picnics and fairs and all this stuff, and it's all cotton candy and elephant ears and funnel cakes and all this junk. And then you go back to school and the kids don't know what they're doing and that kind of thing. And it just has a lot to do with these bad foods. And it's just what our society has gotten into. And then if you get into school, then we're headed to Halloween, and we're back into this whole cavalcade of holidays, and then Thanksgiving and New Year's, Christmas, and all that stuff. So anyway, you can kind of see then how we get into problems with the diet. And if you stay on that long enough, that's why diabetes is so rampant, and heart disease and cancers. Cancer loves sugar. The cancer cells love to work on sugar. They can't make their own. They have to get it from the blood. So cancers love sugar. So anyway, just enough, I think. I'll let Dr. Chip carry on here. He's got lots of good information too on the nervous system works. Don't forget, you can get on our website to sign up for our weekly newsletter. We just send out one email a week. I get quite a few of them to send out 3 or 4 or 5 a day, and it's just overwhelming junk, so most of it, of course, you click off of it. But we just have one blog that we send out in our email a week, and then you're kind of on our list. Also, on our website at naturalquincy.com, there's some videos on there that explain what we do at the office, and you're also welcome to come in for a free consultation if you're not really sure what we're doing here. I know we're not mainstream, but in our world, that's a good thing. So, you need mainstream for certain things, but we look at health a different way, in a different paradigm. So we're here to help with that. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Chip. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, very good. So what Dr. Mark said is I'm going to explain more the nervous system side, how the body works in that way. Again, a lot of good information about the blood sugar levels. Again, just kind of, you'd say, influencing the behavior of our mind and body. So again, I'm Dr. Chip, and we will get to it. So a lot of times too, when we think about kids learning in schools or just anybody in general, could be the adults, even people on social media, all that too. there is a interesting fact. This may be still evident, but this is kind of more what research has shown. This could be a couple years old, but again, it might even be more accurate. So I'm not quite sure. So, but again, it's just a good general reframe here. So the average attention span of a goldfish is 9 seconds. And so a goldfish, little fish, orange fish in a bowl there, they have the attention span of 9 seconds, which again, you think, wow, that's not very long. But if you, actually make that relative to a human, we actually have an attention span of 8 seconds. So if you kind of think about that, again, this is not to be that everybody is going to be like this, and the average could be up more and more there too. But a lot of times is that we are prone to be more, you'd say, alert, or the attention span is not quite there very, very often. And so when this happens, we need to do our best to help train ourselves to have that better attention span, so that not only can we learn better, but we can actually be more connected with others there too. So we'll kind of explain here. So again, the attention span is that you could say is that a lot of times media uses it, that knows how to do the marketing, social media, different little videos. But there's a lot of different things that try to hold your attention span by doing kind of more the flashy object syndrome there. So that's why people know really well by doing short little things. So again, it's up to us to help not only ourselves, even as adults and everything, their attention span. And so what Dr. Mark explained, if we kind of go up and down a lot with the blood sugar, that can be more that can make us more vulnerable to having a less of an attention span, or more actually throws off our energy, throws off our emotions there. And so you can kind of see here is that a balanced body equals a balanced brain, and that why I say food for thought is that what we eat can determine how our body behaves. And so like Dr. Mark explained there too, is that when we have high sugary foods, especially when we're not able to, you'd say there's more people that are more vulnerable to this, that when they're eating a lot of high sugary foods, the body wants to mitigate that, because it doesn't want the blood sugar levels to go up or down too much. Because if we have too much sugar in the bloodstream, that can cause actually ourselves to go into they say kind of diabetic coma. Now again, our body and brain has been evolving for many, many years to help prevent this. But again, the processed sugar is where that kind of, you would say, comes into play, our processed food. So just like adults, kids also, but both, if you have very big concentrated forms of sugar or anything like that, it could be processed foods there too. That tends to make us go kind of up and then down. And the down is when we are more subject to having more of that tiredness or that sluggishness, or we want to take a nap, all that too. And so that, again, that is one aspect that could affect there. And so that's why I put three diagrams here. You can see heart, brain, and then the gut or the stomach here. Is that, again, what we eat can affect how we think. And then that is kind of showing is that, because of course the kids, is that if we have certain foods, or if we're doing certain things, that could say make us or kids more vulnerable to not being able to think, to concentrate, to focus. And so again, that's why the foods are important, because we want to make sure those things are happening well, so that we are able to excel in school and everything there too. But a lot of times too is that it can go both ways. So if you say with the brain, is that if we feel overwhelmed, if we feel say worried about things, or we're you'd say scared about different things, that can play a factor on the gut. And so because when we are in that state of worriness, or you'd say anger or frustration or overwhelm, or we don't feel safe, that's telling the brain to say, hey, we don't need to digest any food right now. There's some kind of threat going on right now that we need to address. And so once that's addressed, then our body's able to regulate better. Now we're able to digest, eat well, eat our foods. That's kind of more of that parasympathetic system, sympathetic system balance that we're talking about. So again, those are two aspects here. And also the heart, there's research now to show that the heart has different neurons, or you would say nervous system, nervous system cells, but neurons, to show that it does play a factor of how our nervous system is able to be regulated. And so that's kind of more when the heart is able to have more of that sense of connection, expression, wellness, safety. That is able to help regulate all the systems here, especially the brain and the gut there too. And so there's a good balance there for everything. And so obviously when everything is getting kind of hectic, when the virus and everything, the pandemic, everything here, again, that can cause not only adults, but the kids for sure, to feel kind of more overwhelmed or scared or disconnected and all that too. So it is appropriate for us to really make sure that not only do we feel safe, obviously, but then obviously for the kids there too, because we want to make sure that whole atmosphere is more open to kind of, we say, discuss or connect or express really what's going on there too. And that can help kind of, you would say, the nervous system to regulate properly. So again, a lot of different ways of showing that. And it doesn't have to be these extreme things, but it can be just in general, just kind of asking how we're doing or how you're doing, or just making sure that people feel more open or safe with others there too. So I think, and again, not only does when the teamwork makes the dream work, that's not only with people outside of us or around us or anything like that too, but the body really shows that that's how it works there as well. And so the team, again, it could be brain, heart, gut, the nervous system, all the cells of your body. When they're in harmony, when they're working as a team, then we're able to have a good balanced brain and balanced body. We're able to heal, we're able to do well, concentrate, focus better in school, all that too. So that's again why we want to encourage more of that expression, because if you don't know what's going on, then you have a hard time to know what either others are doing or feeling, or the kids, all that too. And then connection, like we said, is that sometimes when we get kind of riled up, we want to make sure that we're able to connect and feel welcome, feel open, feel safe there too. So again, just some other aspects of how our brain and body is again very well adapted to handle a lot of these different things, handle the stress, handle the overwhelm. But again, it's more of that helping to dissipate that, to where now we get back into more of that relaxed state, and then we're able to again focus and do well there too. So a lot of different factors there, like we said, eating good foods, diet, very well there too. When the nervous system is balanced out well, again, obviously a regulated balanced system, or regulated nervous system, a balanced body, balanced brain, it's definitely able to be able to function better, perform better, and again, really help you to do well in anything. So again, just kind of some little ideas, some little tips, tricks there, and just information in general to say that again, we're not broken. We're just more of, we need just better ways to help regulate ourselves there too, so that we can promote good health and well-being. So I think again, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet there. So again, you can always follow us at Natural Health Quincy IL at Facebook, YouTube, Brighteon, or Instagram. Again, you can subscribe to our email list at naturalhealthquincy.com. The number is 217-228-2040, and we're located at 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois. So again, we are a chiropractic nutrition office. Again, just wanting to help more people. Now, again, these videos are more for helping getting information out there. I definitely wanted to help anybody that needs help to get this kind of information out or get this information to you. But also, if you need personalized help, if you need help kind of one-on-one or in person, we're always here. So again, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of the week. Thank you.